Hello, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and today I'm going to show you the update of Angular 11. So if you have been using Angular, and I hope you are on version 11, and in this version we have a new cool feature that I'm going to introduce to you, which I believe is a life changer for those who want who have a big project and they have compiling issues. And I think if you use Angular, you know that issue of compiling when the project is becoming to be huge. So I'm going to create a new Angular project in GNU, and I'm going to say demo 11 because I'm using the Angular 11 to demonstrate this, because again, this feature is available in Angular 11 by default, but in previous Angular versions you had to enable that by default. And I'm going to not choose the routing because I don't need routing for now, and I'm going to choose the CSS for this demonstration. So back in Angular version 2, 8 and 9, this feature, which is called HMR, was not available, was not by default enabled. So if you wanted a feature, you had to enable it manually. You had to add some files in order to enable that. So that is to say, it was not stable enough. Now in Angular version 11, is now by default you have that feature right away. So basically how it works, the Angular used to compile every files once you made a change. Let's say that you have like 200 files, components files for example, or services files, and you change one component files, and if you do that, it's going to reload the entire project. It's going to work through the files and compile everything, and it's going to reload everything. So with that, it has a bottleneck, such as like you lose the state of the application. Like if you're working on form and you had some validation there that you are checking to see if the validation is taking effects, then you lose everything regarding to the application state. So with this feature, is going to only change something that you have changed within your application. So let's say that if you were changing on the form and you are changing on specific field, it's going to change only that field that you have modified, and is not going to break you or lose the application state of your application. So as my application is installing, I will just keep explaining how this feature is working and how you can take a full advantage from it. So my application is done bootstrapping. I'm going to open it, demo 11, and I'm going to open the code in VS Code, and I'm going to show you the feature right away. As I told you, this feature is by default enabled in Angular 11. So I'm going to do npm learn start. So if you don't know about Angular, I'm just running this command that is here, which is start, which is going to enable me to test application right away. So I'm going to open the Edge browser, and I'm going to wait, and I'm going to visit my application on port 4200, and I'm going to wait for now because it has not bootstrapped yet. Let's go back to my application, and I want to provide the details, the analytics details. It's going to compile as normal. So while we are waiting for it to compile, let's go to application app component.html. This is the files I'm going to demonstrate this feature here. So I'm going to put a simple HTML document, and I'm going to put something like simple, like h1. I'm going to put hello world, and I'm going to wait for the application to compile in order for me to demonstrate this feature. Let me save that. So the way it works, like if I change anything from these files, the application is not going to reload the entire application. It's just going to only change this one component and this specific line of code, and it's going to inject the change in existing application that I have. So now it's done bootstrapping. Now I can refresh and you see that I have my Hello World application. If I go back to then and let me do side by side so that you see what I'm talking here. So the point is that you see that here the existing solution was to refresh the entire application and go in all the application files and change and recompile it and send the change to the browser. But right now if I change like from this, you can see that it has refreshed, right? It has refreshed. Now I don't want that to happen, so the way you do that is going to enable the HMR feature. I don't know how to spell it, but it's HMR, which is, I don't know the abbreviation what it stands for. Then run it again. This time it's not going to refresh the entire application and go across the entire files you have and compile them and send the change as a whole, but it's going to just send the change, the single change, the incremental change to the browser. If I go back now and I refresh, we have the same. Now let's change simple things. Simple. Okay, I want you to notice that for this time it doesn't refresh the browser. If I change it again, you can see that the change immediately gets effect to the browser. So I want to also show you something interesting, like if I create another component, ng create ng generate component, and I'm going to call it Richard, for example, because it's going to show my name on the screen. And I go to app module to check if the component has been imported. You can see that it's here. Now if I go to Richard components and I go to, you can see that I have Richard works, but this I'm going to copy this component name, and I'm going to say you can see that I have the selector that is equal to app Richard. If I go to app component and I want to include that component I generated here at the top, if I save, you can see that I have the Richard works at the top. So now I want to show you that the Angular doesn't change everything. So if I go here to Richard works component and I change this alone, is only going to change that component. But if I change this also, is only going to take the effect on only that component. So that was to demonstrate that with Angular 11 it doesn't compile everything at at once. It just compile the code that you have changed, which I believe is just a game changer for developers that has a big project that they are working on. I hope this video helped you a lot to understand the change in Angular. I believe this is the massive change that has been introduced in Angular 11. And if you like the video, please, if it has added any value to you, please subscribe. Consider subscribing and share to your friends so that we can hit 1,000 subscribers this year. And I hope we can do that if you help us to subscribe to our channel. And also please feel free to comment on our video and let me know the tutorials that you want to see from me, because in my spare time I try to help the developers to learn programming and also advance their careers, but I don't have people right now that I can teach. If you want me to teach you, please consider subscribing and give me the idea of what you want to see on this channel. I'll be happy to work with you and walk you through your journey of becoming a software engineer, a successful software engineer. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.